Now, we discussed basically this time the Africa problem um, in the Sahel region of Niger and Gabon now. Let's come closer to home, and that is Gilgit Baltistan. This is a province which we call Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and the citizens there call it PAOK. PAOK, sorry. What is PAOK? Pakistan Army occupied Kashmir. Because basically army which controls this region, the political parties are very weak. And the population is Shia, Sunni, and Ahmadiyas. We can look at their percentages if we want. Shias are 39%, Sunnis are 27%, and 18% are not Ahmadiyas, sorry, Ismailis. Now, there is a gentleman there who is a cleric, well read and all that, Sheikh Bakir Ali, who also is involved in freshwater legislation because water is a problem. And there is a new blasphemy law passed last month in Pakistan, which prescribes very severe penalty for anybody speaking things against the religion. Now, against the religion is an issue whether you are Shia and you are Sunni, and so what you say and what you say can differ. But this law says 14 years minimum imprisonment and then life imprisonment. I think it's 10 years and then life imprisonment. Under that, they suddenly file FIR against Sheikh Bakir Ali. And this ignited his followers, and they blocked the roads. And then in Skardu, 3 days ago, the capital city, there was a massive demonstration with lakhs of people and lots of pronouncements which were very tough. Now, this we received from various social media channels, which then have been reproduced in Indian and major Pakistani journals like the Dawn, the newspaper. But otherwise, they also reported that there was a media blackout. Now, if you go back to the history, and if you just go to one source, Dawn, which is a reliable source, then on 3rd they have stated that yes, the Chief Minister of Gilgit Baltistan, we can call it GB, has requested the federal government of Pakistan to provide army and rangers. There is some counter information that says no, they have not yet done. They have passed the resolution in assembly, but they have not said it, because this will be inviting army formally then. Most of the businesses are managed by army even now. The per capita income is smaller than Indian Kashmir. Yes, tourism is there, but then the hotel facilities and other facilities are not well developed. It is also very nice, scenic, etc., etc. People are very docile, let's say docile, and friendly, neighborly, as most of the mountain people are. And we have been listening to various social media things in which leaders of theirs have been talking about their state of being, their economics, their society, and their comparison with India, that they feel that they have not got social services, the roads are not there, the education is not there, the medical facilities are not there, the scientific facilities are not there, and lots of things are not there. And so progressively, it's an anti-sentiment of Pakistan which has been building up. And I'm not going propaganda for anybody. This is after analyzing what the balance of the situation may be. Because after all, certain things have happened, lakhs of people in a small place have come out and are making certain statements. So one of the statements is that if we don't want to go to Punjab, that is Pakistan Punjab, we don't want to go to Sindh Punjab, Pakistan Punjab, open the doors of Kargil, which means coming into India, and let's go there. We don't want to live in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Now that can be an extreme statement, right? But the bottom line is, when this happened on 3rd, for their own reasons, the traders of Pakistan also had a complete shutdown there. Now why? Because inflation is very high. Oil prices have gone up more than 300 rupees for a liter. Similarly, grain prices have gone up, atta prices have gone up. They're all maybe 2 to 3 times more than what India is. But the Wagah border is not opened up. They cannot pick anything from here. Things have to go from India to Dubai, and from Dubai they go to Pakistan, and therefore it costs a lot of money. Lahore and Amritsar can easily have trade with each other, and here from Karachi port, from UAE port, will be coming and going up to all the way to Lahore, and then still it is 2 times the price. Now, this is one thing where if the neighbors are closer to each other, they can help. But when there is a difficulty which has been created about you, me, or sometimes religion, and so on, but then you see that people on their own realize. And by the way, Chandrayaan 3 has done a lot for this reputation, and including in the Middle East, where you see people in the so-called bars or clubs and so on, clapping when Chandrayaan was shot up and then rover landed and so on. So there is a great pleasure in that. A lot of Pakistan social media things have been saying that they have also been making jokes about it, that why does India want to go to moon? They could have come to Pakistan. Why? Because there is no water on the moon, there is no water here in Pakistan, there is no electricity there, we don't have any electricity. So now, after the IMF conditionalities, one of the things is increased prices. The first thing is to increase price of energy. And whom does it hurt? It doesn't hurt government officials or army officials because they would not be paying those electricity bills. Whom does it hurt? It hurts the traders. It hurts the common man who doesn't have that exemption kind of possibility and all that. So energy becomes more expensive. Oil becomes more expensive because you are in between. So you can't pick up much oil from Russia, which is discounted, which easily they could have got. But since they decided to support Ukraine, to sell some arms or whatever it is, or became a tail of UK to supply certain things. UK planes used to come and pick up the arms, ammunition, or the old machines or whatever they are, and Pakistan therefore went in that direction. This is the problem of policy. This is the problem of governance. Now, who is governing there? The Shahbaz earlier government was a caretaker government also. Now, formally it's a caretaker government. October elections, meanwhile Imran has been arrested. His party has been kind of weakened, and therefore there is a bit of a chaos in the country. Last year there were floods. They have not recovered from it. Before that, COVID. They didn't bother to take medicines because Imran Khan announced that, in Islam you don't need these vaccines. Just imagine. A Pada Likha man saying, in Islam you don't need vaccines. Okay. So, in terms of the neighborly relationships, China did something which we also have overreacted. Because since the border lines are not very clearly drawn, England had, or UK had, a very loose control on both the northwest frontier and the northeast frontier. Northwest frontier being Balochistan near Afghanistan, etc. And northeastern side, Arunachal and the 7 states. Since they hardly had any control over there, they did not have much maps of the ground, who is who, and the people who are shepherds and all that, they go from one area to the other, come back, etc., etc. Water is going on both sides, trees are there. So age-old relationships are there that they don't come into each other's path. But the McMahon line which was there creates a problem which the China does not accept. Why? Because People's Republic of China came after a people's revolution with Mao Zedong. And India got its freedom from UK, and whatever they say is your territory, and they created problem of Kashmir, they created other problems also with Pakistan. So there is not a need division there. Now in this case also China, the need division is not there. As long as you are friendly, things can happen. And now they say that Foreign Office says, no, it's just we have put it down, there's nothing serious, we're not making any claims, etc. But it is not true also. Now what it has done is that the Western media again has drummed it up, and our media has kind of picked it up from there and saying China no good, China no good, China no good. Not realizing that in 1962, when there was a war with China, we were badly beaten, but they went back to their positions after ceasefire. All the 4 wars with Pakistan, they started, we won. They started, we won. But China, we have never won against them. They are very powerful. They have large population, they have large army. And at that time in 1962, when our resources got diverted towards military equipment, etc., our social development went down. Same amount of money, which you have in the budget. So you spend a lot of money there, you don't have money for hospitals, schools and colleges, professional colleges, etc., research. But India was smart. It kept on doing research also, like ISRO is now one serious example, where people in the beginning used to take parts of the rockets on bicycles, take them, they had a rented place to begin with. Now, therefore, coming to it that G20 now, whole year the meetings have been going on. They're called like Sherpas for each country and on various resolutions. So basically, more or less, resolutions have already been written down for the next week meeting. And the heads of state will basically be approving it in the end after talking to their staff. Now, what is it that's likely to come up? The number of things on basic cooperation which is likely to come up, but the Ukraine issue is a problem. If Mr. Putin had come, he would not have supported it. If Mr. Xi would have come, he would not have supported the Western position. And India therefore gets stuck in between. So, there is one way of saying it, then this is chairman's record, but then it's not a resolution. So, if it's not a resolution, what was all this big summit for? If it's not a summit, it's a resolution. That means nothing to be acted upon. It's a basic understanding. So, China's foreign office creating this problem with the map, we reacting or overreacting to it. So, Chinese president is not coming, which reduces the value of this. And Russia has said, Mr. Lavrov has said, the foreign minister, that if you pass anything against us, then you must put down what our view also is. Because their views are different, obviously. They don't accept that they've just raided the country. They give the history, the background, and so on and so forth, which I'm not going here. But they are not acceptable to it. Now, if Russia doesn't sign it, China doesn't sign it, where is your resolution? Your whole summit goes fat, actually, right? So, let's guess what is likely to happen. Likely to happen is that the general resolutions will be there, but on this Ukraine, like they did previously, they would say it will go in a footnote where the parties don't agree. Don't agree. And Russia is not going to agree to it, China is not going to agree to it. Now, let's see what is G20 then. There was G7, there is G7. Since it was all of rich countries, USA, Japan, for European countries, that's the decision-making group of the world. And in the UN, namesake, there is a democracy, people vote, etc., etc. But when this group votes, everything goes. Now they made G20 to say that, okay, let's involve other top 10 countries. So China got in, Indonesia got in, Saudi Arabia got in. And then they made EU as a member. Now, if EU is a member, EU represents 41 countries, which means G20 is not G20, it is G60. There is another forum which started in 50s called G77. Then China joined it, but China did not become member, which is of the global north. So that is G77 plus China. That meeting will be coming up 3 months from now. ASEAN meeting, as I just said, is tomorrow. Canadian Prime Minister has gone there. He may not come for G20. So G20, some of the members will not come. It should not mean that India has not done a good job. This is the cross-section of the geopolitics which is going on. And the manner in which the effort has been made, the manner in which they will be made comfortable, it seems 50-odd heads of state may come as invitees. And India is making quite an effort that African Union is invited as a full-fledged member. If not that, at least an invitee member, so that their views can be expressed. India did a fantastic thing by bringing 77, and that is relevant for the global south. Last January itself, or this January rather, 23, October, the Indonesia hosted the earlier G20. Now, they therefore poll them as to what are your concerns and so on. So, India has kind of put together their concerns. One of the main things is that there should be reform of the global developmental institutions, World Health Organization, World Food Program, IMF, World Bank, etc. And there the momentum is building up. And an alternative has got created in terms of National Development Bank of BRICS. So if that does not satisfy them, these global north countries, poorer countries, may start going to other. Now, when we say poorer countries, it is kind of strange. Look at the size of the African subcontinent, not subcontinent, continent. Biggest continent, by the way. Cartography has been such that these areas look small, but they're not. You start putting the map of the other countries on them, other countries are very small. Example is Belgium had, also almost has, Congo as a colony. Now it's called Democratic Republic of Congo after getting independence. Imagine it is 80 times the size of Belgium, the colonizer. Just one, this particular thing. And many of the other countries are also very big, like Chad is very big. Chad is bigger than France. So, having said this, now after they have got independence, look at the statistics, what has happened to them. They become poorer. Earlier they were serving these Britishers or Italians or French and getting some money. Now that is also not there. Companies they don't own. Government owns some companies that, like in Indian public sector at that time, they lose money. Why? Because the basic character is not there. On the other hand, this is a great opportunity for India. India, Russia and China have a very high rating in Africa based on Pew Research, which has just come. Very high rating. They are considered friendly, they are considered that they were helpful. So now let's see what happens therefore in G20. And then on the other hand in the ASEAN, UK, EU, Canada, Australia, all of them have been trying a free trade agreement with India. And all of them are in limbo. We will discuss in a separate section why it is so. If you don't sign agreements with them, it doesn't mean the other people will not sign. Therefore, they will become closer, because if they are developing a free trade agreement, they don't put excise on each other, the customs on each other, or the duties are not high. So, if India doesn't sign, then we can increase the duties, they will also increase the duties. Therefore, it's not good. But we will enter into. The countries, therefore, go to such summits for a particular purpose. They take their business delegations for a purpose. They sign MOUs, get things done. A lot of connected people are there, ministers are there, prime ministers are there, presidents are there, their ministers are there, their bureaucrats are there. India is not yet that good at it. India does not, it still takes it as a diplomacy, rather than saying, let's sign. But we will give you some examples of ports. A number of agreements have been done on ports, and the structure of North-South corridor, as we said, is almost complete, and trial shipments have been done, which means taking something from Nhava Sheva port in Bombay, taking it to Chabad port via Abidjan, and go all the way up to St. Petersburg, Moscow and St. Petersburg. Which means from St. Petersburg, Moscow, things can come via Iran, via the Indian Ocean. And the other is the South Corridor, which we will talk separately. We may talk separately as case studies. How these networks will now be coming up in the next 10 years or so, where India will become very well connected to all these areas, Europe on one hand and so on, and through cheaper routes. So this is the advantage of understanding geopolitics also, and to be able to appreciate it. Because some of these corridors did not pick up because of geopolitical reasons, and now you are removing the blocks one by one. You are helping Iran to come into BRICS, so they are helping you to have the port, basically dedicated to you, few berths. And we can go to Afghanistan from that side easily, and then to Eurasia. So our eyes should open to what is around us also, not all the time Westophilia. So we have to also remember that the growth rate of the erstwhile rich economies, G7 or G7 plus European area, have only 0 to 1% growth. Some of them have a negative growth also, including UK. While in Asia, India is growing at the rate of approximately 8%, China approximately at the rate of 4 to 5%. Other countries also like Korea and um, Indonesia and Thailand and Vietnam are all growing very well. So, on one side, you have developed economies whose growth rate is very small. We have developing countries, growths are high, and therefore they become the growth engine where the growth is high. And the additional output compared to last year's GDP is then brought in by these countries. That is what creates tensions also, and that is why they start talking about rearranging the supply chain management. Again, separate session. So now we will close here. We will await the outcome of ASEAN summit and G20 summit, and we will analyze that. Thank you very much.